Welcome to the Explainer. I'm going to be your guide today, demystifying the official ITF tennis rulebook. We're taking those formal regulations and turning them into clear, actionable concepts so you can step onto the court with absolute confidence. Whether you're picking up a racket for the very first time or you've been casually hitting the ball around and want to finally understand the actual mechanics of the sport, you are in exactly the right place.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We'll cover the tennis court blueprint, decode the scoring system, go over the rules of the serve, navigate doubles and rotations, and finally, look at the flow of the game. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the tennis court blueprint.
So, picture this 78-foot-long rectangular battlefield. You've got baselines anchoring the ends, sidelines marking the edges, and the net slicing it perfectly in half. You'll spend a ton of your time battling it out from that baseline. Now here's a crucial detail. Every single boundary line is officially part of the court, so if a ball grazes even a millimeter of the line, it is absolutely 100% in play. But the size of your battlefield actually changes depending on who's playing. If it's just a one-on-one singles match, your court is exactly 27 feet wide. You totally ignore those outer lanes. But the second you add partners for a doubles match, the court expands. Those outer lanes, the doubles alleys, become active, giving you an extra 9 feet and widening the whole shebang to 36 feet across.
Now keep two absolute key landmarks in mind. First, the center mark, that tiny 4-inch tick dividing the baseline, which is your home base for serving. Second, the service courts. These are the boxes extending 21 feet from the net, divided down the middle. When you start a point, you can't just blast the serve anywhere on the other side. You have to land the ball specifically inside the diagonally opposite service box.
Moving right along to Section 2, decoding the scoring system.
Tennis scoring is notoriously quirky, right? Instead of counting 1, 2, 3, a standard game starts at 0, which we call love, and progresses through 15, 30, and 40 before claiming the game on the 4th point. Just remember, you always call out the server's score first. When the first point on your serve, it's 15 love. Lose the next one, it's 15 all. It's a really quick sprint to 4 points to win the game.
But what happens if you both tie at 40? Well, that is called deuce. And here's the catch. You have to win 2 consecutive points to break the deadlock. If you win the point at deuce, you get the advantage. But if your opponent steals the very next point, boom, the score snaps right back to deuce. It's literally a tug of war until someone clinches 2 points in a row.
To actually conquer the match, think of it like a hierarchy. You stack points to win a game. Then you accumulate 6 games to win a set, but crucially, you have to win by at least 2 games. Finally, you secure either 2 or 3 sets to win the match. If a set gets tied up at 6 games all, that usually triggers a special tiebreak game to finally settle the score.
Up next is Section 3, Rules of the Serve. With all those lines on the court, where exactly are you supposed to stand to kick off the point? Well, every single point begins with a serve, and you alternate serving from the right side of the center mark to the left side for the duration of the game. But your physical positioning is strictly monitored to prevent you from getting an unfair head start. Under Rule 18, to avoid a foot fault, you have to stand totally at rest behind the baseline between the center mark and the sideline extensions. You absolutely cannot touch the baseline or the court surface until your racket actually strikes the ball. Hit the line with your shoe a fraction of a second too early? That's a fault. You get 2 tries to hit a legal serve. Mess up twice, it's a double fault, and you instantly lose the point.
Now what if your serve clips the top of the net but miraculously still lands in the correct service box? That is called a let. It basically means a do-over. That specific serve doesn't count and you simply get to try it again with 0 penalty. But remember, if it hits the net and lands outside that 21-foot box, it's just a regular fault.
All right, moving into Section 4, navigating doubles and rotations.
When you bring partners into the mix, the rotation logic gets super structured. For serving, teams alternate entire games. So, your team decides who serves your first game. The opponents serve game 2. Then your partner absolutely must serve game 3. As for the receiving team, they have to decide who returns from the right side and who returns from the left. Once you lock in those sides, no switching. You have to stay on your chosen side for the entire set.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, the flow of the game. Tennis moves at a really crisp, athletic pace, and that's totally by design. You are allowed a maximum of exactly 25 seconds between the end of one point and the strike of the first serve for the next point.
The moment a ball is dead, that mental 25-second clock starts ticking. It completely prevents endless stalling. Now, you do get a quick breather when changing ends after odd-numbered games. Think games 1, 3, and 5. But that break is strictly capped at 90 seconds. You swap sides so nobody gets an unfair advantage from the sun, wind, or shadows. Oh, and one quick exception. After the very first game of a set, you swap sides, but you don't get a rest period. You just switch and immediately keep playing.
Okay, here's a wild question for you. What happens if you hit a spectacular shot and a bird flies over the court and collides with the ball mid-air? I know, it sounds like a total joke, but because tennis is played outdoors, this is an actual scenario covered in the rulebook.
It falls under Rule 26, the hindrance rule. If some unpredictable, unintentional act completely outside your control disrupts play, like an unlucky bird or maybe a stray ball rolling onto your court from the game next door, the umpire will call a let, and you replay the entire point from scratch. You even get your first serve back because it's considered an unintentional safety hazard. So, armed with the blueprint of the court, the scoring logic, and the strict mechanics of gameplay, the fundamental mysteries of tennis are completely solved. But here is the real question. Now that you know the boundaries, how are you going to use strategy, spin, and power to push your opponents completely outside of them? Understanding the rules is just step one, but weaponizing them, that is how you win. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you on the court.